Welcome back and thank you for joining us today. Sometimes I find myself doing a little more work than necessary, so I've learned a little bit in our market ventures, selling at the farmer's market, and what we've done to make things a little easier on my knees, on my back. So I'm going to share that with everybody today, but first, how is everybody's gardens doing? I hope everybody found success this season. We've had a lot of storms and stuff, which we're going to do a video about what happened to our greenhouse in the storms. We had a crazy electrical storm, just lots of stuff going on. But we're gonna get to all that in time and we'll release those videos. But first, I'd like all you guys to share something you've done this summer as far as growing, something new you've grown, something new you've built. Share some successes or share your failures. We've had lots of failures along with the success, so don't feel bad about sharing any failures. We share plenty of those all the time. But jumping right back into it, like I said, sometimes I find myself working harder instead of smarter. So what we have done is developed a system for growing produce, because produce and produce harvesting is the hardest and most labor intensive thing that we do here on the homestead as far as getting to the market. So cutting flowers, I can do that, that's very easy. Growing, propagating plants, hauling them, it can be a little difficult to carry all those flats and load them up. But I am not going around individually picking all of these fruits and veggies like me and my family do every Thursday, Friday night. So we can hit our farmer's market Saturday morning, sell all of our organic produce and reinvest it right into our homestead. One of the first and easiest things I wanted to share, and basically the summary of this video, is growing pole beans versus growing bush beans. So the more labor intensive our crops get, the longer it takes, the less time we have for other stuff. So my cameraman skipped out on me. Here we are. We're gonna go check out these pole beans. Now, I was saying that our pole beans are more productive, and they certainly are. I just wanna take a quick glimpse. I don't know how well everybody can see up in here, but we've just got hundreds and hundreds of beans hanging all over the entire trellis, top to bottom. The bottom doesn't have as many beans. My kids harvest those ones for me. They'll go around with a bucket as I'm harvesting all of the top row. And we are able to produce off of these 4 cattle panels, maybe about 40 to 50 pounds of beans in a week or two. We were selling a whole lot more than we were able to in the beginning, as we were planting 2-3 rows of bush beans and steadily having to maintenance those and harvest those beans. Even if it wasn't market time, we were harvesting them, throw them in the fridge, eat them ourselves, just so they didn't go to waste and they didn't go to seed, because once they start to seed, we are not going to have any more production from that plant. So just making things a little easier on the back and the knees. We had built this trellis about 2 months ago, and it is pretty well consumed with all of our beans here. We've got all of these butterfly flower and zinnia coming up. We had gotten a decent rain today, and you can see that we've got swaths of kind of ran water where you can see water pooling up, and then down underneath here where all the shade is, it's just mud. We have lots and lots of moisture retention down in this underneath the shade, and it provides a lot of good moisture to all of these beans. When we do get a rain, it doesn't dry out, and you can see the massive production on all of these beans. We've got purple beans on one side and green beans on the other, and there's just probably 50 pounds of beans on the entire trellis altogether right now, because they are due for harvest. So a lot of people don't have a lot of space. So planting a pole bean is going to give you a lot more produce, and if you can give it some type of trellis, you're going to get a lot more harvest. You're going to be able to save some of your seeds. You're going to be able to eat a lot more fresh food that you grew yourself. We've got all these structures. We've got this really nice bean trellis that we've put in place just for beans here. So we put maybe 5 stakes up, 4, 5, 6 stakes up at $5 a piece, so $35 on metal stakes to go in the ground. Just these green, maybe 6-foot metal stakes or something like that, 7-foot metal stakes. We used 50-inch by 16-foot long cattle panels, which run about $30 to $32 depending on where you're getting them. So well, we're sitting at 4 cattle panels, that's $120, so $155, $160 maybe. So that was 2 months ago when we put this in, and we had purchased that with farmers market money from produce, plants, flowers. So rolling that profit right back into an investment, whether it's for selling or whether it's just for growing for yourself, to blanch them all out and store them, can them. Having homegrown beans in the middle of winter time is very, very pleasing, and having tomatoes and all of that, like black Krim, being able to taste that in winter, even if it's canned, you still can taste the little difference in the heirlooms and all the different varieties and stuff. So having all of that excess is very good. All of that bountiful harvest, you can store that, save that, and have some food security. So where I was going is that we spent about $150, $160 on this bean trellis, and it's already paid for itself. So we've sold almost 90 to 100 pounds of beans just off this trellis since we've built it. And at $3 a bag, we've made almost $300 off of just beans. Going back into the trellis, going back into the homestead, we're going to continue to expand this trellis backwards, and we might expand it forward too, out into the yard here, because we've got plenty of room. We're just kind of saving some space for another greenhouse out here. So I really just wanted to touch on this with everybody, because planting the bush beans, you're going to have good harvest. Yes, if you stay on top of them, yes, you will continue to harvest. But having those pole beans, it's very, very easy to just come by, pick them, and you can snack as you're going, snack as you're harvesting other stuff in the garden. These pole beans are super productive, and they will outproduce all of your bush beans tenfold per plant. They will have a lot more room. The bush beans don't have all of the vining tendrils and stuff, so they're really limited on what they can produce and their size. Yes, this may be kind of an obvious one, but I really wanted to reiterate the fact that you can produce a absolute ton of food for yourself, your family, for your friends and neighbors, whoever, and you can really outproduce your own needs to where you need to sell it or need to get rid of it. And we didn't plant very many plants. We probably planted maybe 30 beans on this whole fence line for 4 cattle panels, so that's not too bad. We probably had oversown the green beans because they are very, very thick, and the purple beans are spread out a little more. We save all our own heirloom seeds, and this is another great one. There goes a bird scaring the life out of me again. So we have this really old fence line here. It's very hard to distinguish where it's at, but we have this old fence line, and we've got these perennial beans that continually come up every season because we let them fall down into the grass and they basically dry out and they regrow. I mean, I can come by and pretty well eat those anytime I want, but we're going to use this fence line to save seeds off of those. So that is another great method of growing the beans. I mean, we got some weeds out here because this is just a seed patch. We're not really eating and harvesting. We don't need to get to this all the time. So they're just kind of drying out and doing their thing. But the entire fence is covered in these, and you can see where the beetles are really, really snacking on these. See these dang beetles blowing in the wind. Dealing with those beetles is a nightmare sometimes. Trying to get all of the plants protected and trying to find organic sprays is hard because not a whole lot of organic sprays work. But having a fence line, having any type of trellis system, using your sunflowers. We usually grow our beans up our flowers, but a lot of our sunflowers were destroyed. These are just some random flowers that came up on their own from ones we had last season. But out in the southern corner of our property, we always have a ton of sunflowers, and we will grow our beans right up them. You can grow them up ragweed, you can grow them up a tree, any type of fencing. There's a million ways to grow a bean. You can make your own trellis out of sticks and stuff. We've done that a few times. So long story short, anybody and everybody should be growing a decent amount of pole beans for yourself because the production is there. So I'd really like to thank everyone for watching this, sticking around. Hopefully all of our new gear and equipment is going to pan out. I think this camera is pretty darn nice, so hopefully everybody continues to like, subscribe, and follow along as we continue to bring all of our projects and all of our journey. And we're about to start heating the greenhouse for winter again, so everybody stick around for that. We've got lots of cool experiments we're going to try this winter also. I look forward to trying a whole bunch of cheap, free, and solar powered experiments this winter to heat the greenhouse or just keep ourselves busy throughout the winter anyway. So if anybody's got any ideas starting out, we're going to be getting all of that area cleaned up behind the greenhouse, and we're going to be dumping a bunch of wood chips and getting all of that ready to go soon. Once again, thank you to all of my subscribers and everybody out there watching. I really appreciate it, and thank you. We will see you next time.